In this video, I'm going to give you 3 simple tips for having a deep meditation. Okay, not just a superficial meditation, but a deep meditation every single time, no exceptions. The reason why we most of the time cannot go deep into our meditation is because of certain myths that surround this practice. One of the greatest myths is that in order to have a deep meditation, you need to have a lot of experience. You need to be a monk. You need to learn meditation from some teacher, elaborate practice, going into too much detail, sitting for hours and hours, go on retreats, and then maybe someday when you have a black belt in meditation, you can perhaps have a deep meditation. Okay, I'm here to tell you that's all rubbish. That's nonsense. Okay, you can have a deep meditation right after you stop watching this video. But there are certain elements we have to understand which prevent deep meditation. And how to remove those elements is the key to having a deep meditation. Okay, so firstly, why can't we go deep in our meditation? The main reason is we don't quite understand the significance of the mind-body connection. What does that mean? That means our mind and our body are constantly in a state of flux. Okay, if you have a certain fearful thought, seamlessly that thought changes your heart rate. It changes the way you breathe. It changes the way you feel. If you are feeling uncomfortable, the feeling of discomfort or stress in your shoulders, in your body, creates stressful, fearful thoughts. Okay, and this is a cycle. Sometimes the mind is afraid, it creates stress in the body, and the mind then perceives the stress in the body and the change in the heart rate and creates stress based on that. So our mind and body are constantly affecting each other. Even if you close your eyes and imagine standing on a cliff. Imagine standing on a tall building and standing at the edge of the window and looking down. Just imagine. And as you look down, you see tiny cars, people walking by, there's wind, and the instant your imagination reaches a certain point of realism, you immediately have the feelings of fear in your body. You'll feel your palms get clammy, your heart rate fluctuates a little bit, your breath becomes shallow. And so this is how strong the connection is. We underestimate that connection. So when I'm meditating, when I'm starting to meditate, all the thoughts in my mind are constantly causing me to create physical movements. They are causing me to adjust to the changing conditions in my mind. And the changing conditions in my body, in turn, are creating thoughts, creating emotions, creating feelings in my own mind. And so this cycle, when it is too noisy, as it happens for beginners, okay, that's when meditation becomes difficult. That's why we give up too soon. So we have to understand that the only way to have a deep meditation is to break this cycle. We naturally break this cycle if we practice meditation for many years. But that doesn't mean we have to wait many years in order to be able to break this cycle. It's a simple method to break it. What is that simple method? There are 3 things you have to do. Okay. The first thing is, before you sit down for meditation, you have to stretch. You have to. If you can do push-ups, do push-ups. If you can do squats, do squats. If you can hold a particular stance, like a low horse stance, hold it. Low horse stance is basically going down on your, taking your hips towards the ground, bending at your knees such that knees stay at right angle. Martial artists do it all the time. So look it up if you don't know what a low horse stance is. It's going to raise up your heart rate. It's going to shake off your lethargy. Whatever it is that you have to do it in order to shake off your lethargy, in order to shake off sleep. Sleep is an enemy because sleep or lethargy is going to put you to sleep the instant you begin to meditate. The whole mind-body cycle is slowly winding down if you're falling asleep. So if you continue to fall asleep, then sleep is all you find in meditation. Sleeping is not stillness. Stillness is being awake and still having this feeling of complete calmness and peace within. Okay? It doesn't come from falling asleep. And so we have to stretch away our sleeping or our lethargy, our sleeping tendencies or our lethargy. That's the first thing you have to do. You have to stretch. Whatever it is that you need to do, if you need to have your morning coffee, spend some time after that, stretch, because coffee can make you jittery. So immediately sitting after coffee may not be advisable. So take into account all of those things before you start meditating. First thing is stretching. It's very simple. Second thing is the most important aspect of this, which is to sit still. Okay? Sitting still is how we break the cycle. We have to sit still for not just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but up to 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, in general, most people's minds start coming down because I'm holding the body in place. Makes sense? So even if my mind is creating thoughts, my body is completely quiet. Therefore, my body doesn't create more perturbation, more disturbance in my mind. How do we know we have to sit for 25 minutes? For each of you, that time gap is going to be different, but it's usually not going to be less than 15 minutes. 25 minutes is a time when, personally for me, and in my experience after speaking to many people, is the time when the desire to move the body goes away. Which means there's this constant subconscious desire we have to keep moving the body. That subconscious desire creates small disturbances in the mind, and that those disturbances create thoughts. After 15 to 20 minutes, that desire falls away, and something very specific is going to happen. And when this specific thing happens, that's when your meditation is about to become deep. So you have to look for that point when you're sitting. What is that point? That point is the point when your body becomes heavy. Which means until now, you were always feeling a slight bit of struggle to keep still. And after this point, you realize you can stay still without a single effort. So the only thing moves is your belly. Okay? Shoulders are still, everything is still. And so first thing we do is we do the stretching, as we said, or doing the breath work in the first part. I usually do a combination of both. So stretching or breath work will remove your lethargy, remove your sleep. Second, you sit still. Sit comfortable, have your knees at a level which is lower than your hips. So sit on a pillow, sit on a meditation pillow, or any such thing which is at an elevation, such that your knees are below your hips. That creates good blood flow. That removes pain in the lower back. And that makes it easier for you to sit still for a long time. Then you sit still. Okay. So first, breathwork stretching. Second, sitting still for up to the point after which the desire to move goes away. Okay. Watch for it. It's a very specific thing. You will find it. After that, you do the third step. The third step is you let your thoughts flow. Okay. You've been letting your thoughts flow until now anyway. But after this, you specifically let the thoughts flow, which means you simply observe whatever is going on within you. The reason why we let our thoughts flow and we don't complicate things too much is because we have already spent effort in keeping our body still. So if I'm keeping my body still, then I need to let my mind go. You see, because I don't need to control my mind. If I start controlling my thoughts, if I start saying I shouldn't have these thoughts, if I shouldn't get distracted, I should think about a very specific thing, I should focus on a very specific thing. If we start doing those things, then our body begins to move again. You see? And so there is a fine balance we have to find, which can take us deep with absolutely no prior experience. Now, this is just one way of meditating. There are other ways of meditating in which you focus on your breath, focus on sights, sounds, and sensations, and then you focus on your thoughts, which is the other form of meditation. But this is another way of going deep without any prior experience. Okay. So, deep meditation requires three things. One, first stage is stretching or doing some breath work to remove the sleep. Second is sitting still to the point where the desire to move your body naturally goes away. And that point happens after 15 to 25 minutes. So you have to sit absolutely still for that long. Scratch your edges, do whatever you have to do before in stage one. But once you sit still, you don't move. Have discipline, have self-control. It's easy to have self-control when it's something physical we are doing, which such as not moving our body. And the third is you let your mind totally loose. Even if you let your mind completely do whatever it wants to do, you will still walk away at the end of this session with great peace, great connection, great depth in your experience. And you start to have an idea about what depth in meditation actually feels like.